unfortunately, this type of thing is still not very popular. It's still a very controversial topic at university. So, and of course, it's because of the whole question of scientific procedure and experimentation. But the thing is, when you take a close look at this, there is definitely a body of research and scientific method that is associated with this. So this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to sensitize you to in this class. Okay? So, I thought what I would do is I would start off by reading, and then I'm going to get you guys to help me. We'll go paragraph by paragraph, and we'll read through it. And we can stop at any time and have questions, discussion, but for sure, by the time we get to the end, I'm sure that you'll have some questions or some things you want to discuss. Okay, does that sound right, everybody? Okay, so I'm going to read the first chapter, and then, like I promised the other day, I'm going to pick on Saskatoon to be the first ones to carry on. Okay? All right, so it's interesting that the cover page says, what if heaven is real? So many people, including scientists, suddenly believe in an afterlife. Okay? But I kind of have to chuckle at the title on the essay. It says the heaven boom. Right? So, what are they insinuating? So, it's possible they're talking about, I don't know, when I read that, I kind of thought, well, maybe they're hinting or intimating that maybe this might be something that we can make money off too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading it. But anyway, it says, from best-selling authors to scientists, why do so many people suddenly believe in an afterlife? Okay. So, death, it seems, is no longer Shakespeare's undiscovered country, the one from whose bourne no traveler returns. Not according to contemporary bestseller lists. Dreams and visions of the afterlife have been constants across human history, and the near-death experiences, now known as with the acronym NDEs, of those whose lives were saved by medical advances, have established for millions a credible means by which someone could peek into the next world. Lately, a fair-sized pack of witnesses claim to have actually entered into the afterlife before coming back again to write mega-selling accounts of what they saw and felt there. Afterlife speculation has become a vibrant part of the zeitgeist, which basically means it's like a panorama or sort of a view of the zeitgeist, the result of trends that include developments in neuroscience that have inspired new ideas about human consciousness, the ongoing evolution of theology, both popular and expert, and the hopes and fears of an aging population. Heaven is hot again, and hell is colder than ever. And when I was reading, I was thinking about one of Shakespeare's favorite quotes, which I think is very apt. He says, "All the world is but a stage." Okay. All right. So if we can ask folks in Saskatoon to kind of carry on with the next. Amber, would you read the next paragraph, please?
Go ahead, Amber.
I'm not here.
Is Amber not here? Did I miss something?
I'm here.
You're here? Okay, good. Okay. There we are.
Recent polls across the developed world are starting to tell an intriguing tale. In the U.S. religion central for the West, belief in heaven has held steady, even ticking upwards on occasion. Over the past 2 decades, belief in hell is also high. But even Americans show a gap between the two articles of faith. 81% believed in the former in 2011, as opposed to 71% accepting the latter. Elsewhere in the Western world, the gap between heaven and hell believers is more of a gulf. A 2010 Canadian poll found more than half of us think there is a heaven, while fewer than a third acknowledge hell. What's more, monotheism, 2 destinations are no longer all that are on offer. In December, a survey of the 1970 British cohort of 9,000 people currently 42 years old found half believed in an afterlife, while only 31% believed in God. No one has yet delved deeply into beliefs court surveyors didn't ask for details, but reincarnation. In a newly multicultural West is one suggested factor. So too is belief in one the natural continuation of human consciousness after death.
Okay, Rhonda, can you take the next chapter?
While most of the current best-selling accounts of afterlife experiencing are recognizably Christian, at least in outline, signs of changing beliefs can be found in them too. Nor are the new travelers, who include a 4-year-old boy and a middle-aged neurosurgeon, what religious skeptics would think of as the usual suspects. Colton Burpole, now 13, died 10 years ago from a ruptured appendix and spent 3 minutes of his early time in heaven. Some of it Jesus' love. Earthly time in heaven. Some of it from Jesus' love. Some of it speaking with a miscarried sister whose existence had never been told about before being pulled back to earth by his surgical teeth. Since 2010 is when his father, Todd, the Nebraskan minister, published his account of what Colton told him. Heaven is for real. Has sold more than 7.5 million copies. If Colton's story sounds like a contemporary take on an ancient Christian motif, unless ye become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew. The same can be said about Evan Alexander's post-religious cosmic experience.
Okay. Graven, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, would you take the next one, please?
It is Alexander's
Provocatively.
name, Proof of Heaven, released in November, that wrenched afterlife visitation literature out of its below-the-radar religious publishing niche and into the spotlight. Alexander's professional stature as a Harvard-trained neurosurgeon, a man expected to know what is possible and what is not for human consciousness, ensured him of extensive media coverage, including on Oprah Winfrey, Super Soul Sunday, massive sales, and often venomous response from fellow scientists.
You missed that.
What little?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, go back to the bestseller there list, yeah. And often venomous responses from fellow scientists, right? Thank you. Okay, Ruby, can you take the next one? Is Ruby there?
Okay. Alexander woke one day in 2008 with an intense headache. Within hours, my entire cortex, the part of the brain that controls thoughts and emotion, and that in essence makes us human, had shut down, he writes. Doctors finally determined that E. coli bacteria had penetrated my cerebrospinal fluid and were eating my brain. For 7 days, he was in a deep coma, during which time, often guided by a beautiful girl riding a giant butterfly, he flew around the invisible spiritual side of existence. And then he encountered God, whom Alexander frequently refers to as Om. The sound he recalls as being associated with an omniscient, omnipotent, and unconditionally loving God.
Thank you. Okay, Chelsea, next.
He eventually recovered, a medical miracle in itself, Alexander writes. But he was an entirely different man, no longer a neuroscientist like other neuroscientists. I know that many of my peers hold, as I myself did, to the theory that the brain, and in particular the cortex, generates consciousness, and that we live in a universe devoid of any kind of emotion, much less the unconditional love that I now know God and the universe have toward us. But that belief, that grave, now lies broken at our feet. What happened to me destroyed it.
Okay, Shauna, there.
according to most of his fellow neuroscientists, whose reactions made the predictable Christian weariness, no angels, no Jesus, and a God named left Toronto pastor Tim Challies to sum up proof of heaven as more New Agey than the rest, close to non-Western religion. Seem welcoming. Oliver Sacks called Alexander's claims not just unscientific but anti-scientific. Others opposed dogma with dogma. Alexander was correct that by current neurological understanding, what happened to him was impossible if his cortex was shut down. Therefore, they said, it wasn't shut down. No matter what his medical records say, many skeptics reference British psychologist Susan Blackmore's 1993 book, Dying to Live, which dismisses NDEs as a result of chemical changes associated with dying brains, as the last word.
Okay, good. Well, I think everybody in Saskatoon has been covered there, eh? Okay, I should just mention that I can attest that even Alexander is a real person, actually even Alexander III, because I met him when I was last year when I was doing my sabbatical research in Virginia, University of Virginia. So this was, and I met him just before the book came out. So very interesting. Okay, well, come down to here, and Anthony, can I get you to the next one?
For their part, non-materialist neuroscientists like University of Montreal Professor Mario Beauregard have long critiqued Blackmore and point out that brain research was in its infancy 20 years ago. Blackmore argued that a lack of oxygen, or anoxia, during the dying process might induce abnormal firing of neurons in the part of the brain that controls vision, leading to the illusion of seeing a bright light at the end of a dark tunnel. So if you continue.
No, what do you need to do?
American City's objections by Dutch cardiologist Tim Van, I'm not sure if you know, that if anoxia, lack of oxygen, was central to NDEs or more cataract arrest patients who report such an experience. What's more, as pointed out by Dr. Sam Arnia, whose, I'm not sure if it's resuscitation technique doubles his cardiac arrest recovery rate. Some NDE patients were not very serious cases. Meaning their oxygen levels were not normal. In fact, Arnia notes dropping oxygen levels are acute confusional state, something at odds with the lucid and consciousness reported by NDE people. Sorry, I'm like dyslexic, so it's hard to read a lot.
Okay, that's good, thank you. Okay, Veronica?
And it's not only the remarkable extension of the time patients can spend suspended between life and death, but the sheer number of individuals involved that has made near-death experiences so contentious among researchers. Those whose near-death experiences also involve an out-of-body experience raise the stakes further. Materialist skeptics are not troubled by accounts of tunnels of light or angelic beings attached to dying brain. Hypothesis doesn't fully explain them. But there are other possibilities. Too much carbon dioxide in the blood, perhaps, or as a recent study from the University of Kentucky posits, NDEs are really an instance of a sleep disorder, rapid eye movement, REM, intrusion. That disorder, a person's mind can wake up before his body, and both hallucinations and the sensation of being physically detached from the body can occur. Cardiac arrest could trigger a REM intrusion in the brainstem, the region that controls the most basic functions of the body, and which can operate independently from the now dead higher brain. The resulting NDE would actually be a dream.
Okay. Natasha?
But that hypothesis still cannot account for people who reported pain during their out-of-body experiences, what they could not have. Most commonly, that's an overhead view of their frantic medical team. Panera reports a 2001 case in which a Dutch patient's dentures were removed during cardiac arrest. When his nurses couldn't find the dentures later, the patient was able to remind them where they were. Perhaps the most famous corroborated case cited by Beauregard is that of a migrant worker named Maria, whose story was documented by her critical care social worker, Kimberly Clark. The day after she had been resuscitated after cardiac arrest, Maria told Clark how she had been able to look down from the ceiling and left the OR. She found herself outside the hospital and spotted a tennis shoe on the ledge of the north side of the building's third floor. She described it in detail. Maria, not surprisingly, wanted to know whether she had really seen the shoe, and she asked Clark to go look.
Okay. Wendell?
Quite skeptical, Clark went where Maria sent her, found the tennis shoe just as she described it. The only way she could have such a perspective, said Clark, was if she had been floating right above and at a very close range to the tennis shoe. It shouldn't have been possible, as both Beauregard and Farina points out. The question comes, Farina says, how can people have conscious awareness when they have gone beyond the threshold of death?
Okay, Paul?
The answer to that question is not necessarily Christian or even metaphysical at all. Not for Parney, who describes himself as not a religious person, and not for many of his fellow NDE researchers. In a similar vein, many traditional Christians are more than a little wary of the reported experiences of the heavenly travels. For them, the idea is so intolerable or materialistic skeptics that consciousness of the soul can and does exist outside the body is an article of faith. But some of the new afterlife, however seemingly Christian in outline, is often troubling, especially in its utter lack of judgment. All are welcome, all are heaven-bound in those accounts. There is no sign of God's wrath for sinners. Division over the possibility of continuing human consciousness is not entirely between the religious and the secular, and the extraordinary popularity of heaven tourism. Books have continued to pour down the publishing pike this year, including I Believe in Heaven by Cecil Murphy, one of the pioneers of this genre. This is not entirely driven by evangelic enthusiasm.
Okay, Marcel?
In that regard, the storm stirred up by proof of heaven only obscures the wider significance of the afterlife books. The controversy over the scientific basis of Alexander's experiences, like the skeptical poking for holes in the verbal story. Can Colton's parents really be sure he never heard a word about his mother's miscarriage? Can miss the cultural forest for the factual trees?
That paragraph is too short. Why don't you do the next one, please?
Consider the many other near-death survivors come authors and their places along the continuum. From pastor's son to neurosurgeon, there's Mary Neal, an orthopedic surgeon whose account of the aftermath of her drowning in Chile in 1999, To Heaven and Back, has spent 2 years on bestseller lists. Teacher Crystal McVeigh, whose Waking Up in Heaven tells the story of the 9 minutes that followed after she stopped breathing in 2009. The Boy Who Came Back from Heaven is about 6-year-old Alex Malarkey, who met Jesus after a car accident in 2004, and Texas pastor Don Piper, whose 2004 account, co-written with Cecil Murphy, of his car crash, 90 Minutes in Heaven, is often credited with kick-starting the phenomenon.
Marcel's channeling something, I'm just not really sure who it is. Okay, I'll take the next one, then we'll talk about this afternoon. Okay, so, there are elements from key plot points, tiny details that link their stories, starting with two obvious points. The idea that major scientists no longer dismiss the idea of continuing consciousness colors all accounts, as does the fact that whether truth or fantasy, the experiences are necessarily culturally specific. Okay, so let's go back, just use the same order that we went last time, so Andrew, if you can just start up there. Okay, Amber, can you take the next paragraph? Pardon?
You can. Did you mute them?
What's that?
Did you mute them?
No. So it's muted? Oh, it says far end microphone off. I don't know.
That's ours.
Is that ours?
We can't hear you.
Okay, hang on. Fix this here. Does that work?
And it comes to the other CD.
Okay, I'll try this one then. Okay, try that. Is that working? This is the time we wish you had when we use the cell phone. Okay. What I can do is I can go and see if I can find Rena, who's the.
I can just call her.
Yeah, would you call her? Yeah.
Oh.
See, that's what we need to send
So Janelle's calling Rena, get some assistance for the
They might be able to hear us.
for the
Can
far
you guys hear us?
far end microphone.
Yeah, they can hear us.
This is her moment to
You
shine.
got time to go plug your meters.
They're laughing. Is this, what room is this?
It's,
Yeah, I think it's 10-12. We can't hear the other class. Yeah, they did. I think they just know different. They have to turn it on there. That's good. I think they didn't want to read. Oh, well, is that Saskatoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they want Marcel to finish reading for us.
Yeah, right. Sean Connery.
Oh, you're ready to read that story time guy, like long ago, in the that big chair with the fireplace?
Which guy?
He was like in the 80s, he used to tell stories. She's coming. Great. Is that who?
Fred Penner?
Not Fred Penner.
No, not him.
Well, we can probably take a 5-minute break if everybody wants to
No, you're always
This for your Facebook.
That's
Okay.
camera stand?
Last night.
They're fixing a sound issue.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now everybody's done.
Everybody's plugging their meter.
Everybody's done now.
They don't want to read. What? It's fun.
Maybe I should ask you folks here, there's a couple people that are supposed to be in this class, but have not. Ooh. Okay. One was on Regina's, that's why she's. Okay. Got it. Okay. Savannah Mary Violet Llewellyn, anybody know who she is?
Savannah.
I see Regina's on the right, the one who's on Regina's, that's why. That's what she's.
Oh, I'm missing the school power back home.
Does it work? Does this work okay?
Yep.
Yeah, it's working now?
Yeah, the mic's on now.
You can hear me talking?
Yeah.
So weird, I didn't meet you. Hi. I'm Pierre. What's your name?
Brandon.
Brandon?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing in June, traveling from Onion Lake.
Where's Onion Lake?
About 3 hours away.
So you're gonna stay here for the week, like those 3 days?
No.
You're just gonna keep traveling back and forth?
Yeah, for Tuesday and Thursday.
3 hours? Leave them that alone, eh? But yours is
Hey, so you know how much
shorter than mine.
WWE wrestler makes
I mean,
in a
mine's
year?
shorter distance.
Yeah.
They must make a lot of money though,
But
right?
then it would have been the same, my husband would have dropped me
$1,000
off Tuesday,
more
then
than
right
that.
back.
That'd be
So
like
we'll see, so I have to go back with him, and then
$200,000.
he'd have to come pick me
As
up
much as a
Thursday.
doctor.
Where's Onion Lake by? Is that by PA?
Maybe not.
No, north of Lloydminster,
Okay.
Border City.
Wow, okay.
Who do you think has a better gimmick? Jack Swagger?
Maybe.
Or Alberto Del Rio?
This one and, Gilbert's alcohol class. Alcoholics.
Your social work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Stuck with that.
And
Indigenous Studies 4th year, and then teaching 4th year.
$1 million. Big show.
It's a long haul.
Oh,
I'm
Candace
tired.
Michelle.
Are you tired?
Like chick.
Yeah. I don't mind the traveling as long as it's not winter, hey?
Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
Well, over
Yeah.
in Ontario,
$1
that's summer. Especially by Radisson, that left.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about
155,000.
that.
That's all.
Crazy. The road is washed out.
41,000.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels, $1 million.
Looks like everybody's back.
45,000.
Okay, first of all, Rhonda. Rhonda, I do have you on my list, but you show up on my Regina list. So that's not a problem.
You can be
You are
famous
registered.
too.
Okay, just so
Okay.
that I had you with my Regina. Okay, so that's fine. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have our connection back. Amber, again, can start. We're on the last paragraph, page 46. Right?
I'm done already.
Again, encore.
We all read.
We'll have an encore again.
All overwhelming and bewildering mental states have to be sorted, defined, and made comprehensible in the light of all the family. Familiar. What else do our brains have to work with? One way or another, a pastor's child and a fallen away Christian like Alexander will filter in NDE through the earliest Sunday school. Facts laid down in their memories. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, first famous for her 5 stages of grief, later became a doyen of NDEs. Her lectures on her NDE patients who turned into a believer, first published in 1991, were reissued in 2008 to catch the current publishing wave. Even in her rather homogeneous Western European clientele, Kubler-Ross could see the effects of earlier enculturation. I never encountered a Protestant child who saw the Virgin Mary in his last minutes, yet she was perceived by many Catholic children.
Many of the writers shared a common gaping wound centered on lost children, a wound usually healed by simultaneously finding the child and realizing there is no blame or judgment to suffer, no forgiveness to offer or seek. Most of Colton Verhoe's account is child's eye account of Orthodox teaching, but its most affecting passage is when he lifts years of guilt and anxiety off his mother, Sonia, by telling her that her miscarried child had been a girl, and that she was now flourishing in heaven as God's adopted daughter. Keep going.
Well, who was next? I think it was who was next after? Was it Sean who was next?
Still more of that paragraph.
Sorry, I was talking about.
Oh, you're not done, Rhonda.
Yeah. What's that?
There's more to that paragraph.
Oh, okay. One of Kubler-Ross's patients, a 12-year-old girl, told her father how she was comforted during her NDE by her brother, except that she didn't have a brother. Her tearful father then told her about the son who had died 3 months before her birth.
Sure. I'll just read. Evan Alexander, who unlike most NDE cases lost all sense of personal identity during his experience, was troubled because that loss meant no relative offered him assurances of love and acceptance. Afterwards, though, Alexander, an adopted child who had felt abandoned his whole life, saw a picture of his deceased natural sister, whom he had never met in life. She was the girl on the butterfly. There is more than a trace of Kubler-Ross's influence in Proof of Heaven. The butterfly girl stands out as one of the more psychedelic elements in an account most abstract and metaphysical. Kubler-Ross, however, constantly describes the human body as a cocoon, from which a metaphorical butterfly of spirit will eventually emerge.
And the stories offer similar proofs. Colton, like Kubler-Ross patients, how do you say that? Inexplicably knew of a lost sibling whose existence their parents believed they had kept hidden, while Eden Alexander could describe precisely what his medical team and his family were doing during his 7-day coma. They are all, even the children witnesses who experienced what they did and came back reluctantly. For a reason, Mary Neal was sent back with what she called a laundry list of tasks to do, which she still doesn't talk about, at least not until they are accomplished. One was to help the rest of her family cope with the foretold death of her young son, which occurred 10 years later in 2009. Colton and Alex provide truth. Out of the mouths of the babies, Alexander knows he is uniquely positioned among NDEs subject to challenge the materialistic orthodox of mainstream neuroscience.
Those similarities inform Hill, beside the deep thematic link between the new bestsellers. The previously undiscovered country is a place of unconditional love. Several of the writers pause, sometimes for pages, to stress the adjective as much as the noun. None express the message more clearly than Alexander, who writes that the only thing that truly matters is communicated to him in 3 parts. It boils us down to one word: love. But the key phrase may be the 3rd sentence of his longer version. You are loved and cherished. You have nothing to fear. There's nothing you can do wrong.
That's fodder for cynics and skeptics, of course. That an individual like any of the authors, someone of broadly Christian background, coping with emotional pain, should undergo such a heaven-centered experience when in the throes of physical trauma, and broadly predictable and easy to dismiss as wish fulfillment. The fact is, has happened to a group of such similar individuals does not in itself prove the truth or the falsity of the experiences. What that does, though, is illuminate a culture that increasingly rejects the very notion of judgment while equating salvation with personal healing.
Okay, thank you. Anything?
Most observers trace the current upsurge to John Piper's 90 Minutes of Heaven, largely ignored by the non-religious world and looked at pastors by many Christian commentators. 90 Minutes goes like God-based. And while it's at the template for what was to come, what stands out about it today is its monster. Piper was declared dead at the scene of an auto crash on January 18, 1989. His body was left in place while the authorities waited for the tools needed to extract him from the wreckage. An hour and a half later, though, Piper stirred back to life, albeit to a long and excruciating recovery involving 34 painful surgeries.
Can I pass? I think I'm actually dyslexic and it's really hard for me to read aloud.
Okay.
I just mixed up the parts.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
There was this heavy in that movie, the Friends Ended Life, that actually just felt that the lowest of gates of heaven surrounded by perfect light and the guiding pillars. Loving, living,
All this, the approach to the pearly gates, the welcome from loved ones, the presence of unconditional love, and the absence of judgment, was pregnant with accounts to come. But, as it turned out, 90 Minutes' firstborn, the genetic relationship obvious in their titles, not to mention the way Amazon bundled them together for a special low price, was the most striking outlier in recent afterlife literature. Bill was unpregnant and verses. A California realtor leased his business peacefully on the night of November 22nd, 1998, when God pitched him his hotel at 3 a.m. So that, as later decided, he could warn others of their peril. He landed abruptly in a 5 by 3 meter cell, shared 2 gigantic, evil, reptilian beasts he proceeded to smash him against the walls before shredding his flesh. He had conceived but not born, and not died as much as he wanted to. He continued in seemingly endless pain, tormented too by the terrible foul stench, smell the most evocative of senses, the one most closely tied to deep memory. It's prominent in accounts of heaven as well, where it brings visitors the most comforting reminders of childhood, and when the odors arise from food, assurances of plenty. At precisely 3:23 a.m., Jesus rescued, breathed, and returned him home, where he landed terrified on his living room floor.
The book, published in 2006, spawned no serious imitators. In part, that was due to its lack of scientific gloss, the heaven narrative there, and the times maps
One Christian nurse posting on Amazon rejected 23 minutes because of her familiarity with NDEs. There is no explanatory traffic accident, cardiac arrest, or brain-eating bacteria. Nothing to indicate hovering between life and death, where when the sufferer could peek through a curtain. Nothing that didn't prove to a very bad dream.
But Reese's book also went nowhere because hell no longer possesses the power to unchallenge Christianity. That's particularly remarkable within the American religion milieu that was always attentive to warning of hellfire. In 1741, Jonathan Edwards delivered what is often called the most famous sermon in American history, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. It is beautifully composed, rigorously logical in terms of Calvinist theory, and frankly terrified. Men are held in the hands of God over the pit of hell. They have been reserved the fiery pit, and are already sentenced to it. And God is dreadfully provoked. Edward was interrupted often during the sermon by congregants moaning and crying out, "What shall I do to be saved?" It's doubtful he received the same reaction today. Many modern Christians struggle to reconcile a loving God with one who would condemn the majority of humankind to eternal torment.
Within Roman Catholicism, notes Smith colleague, world religion professor Carol Zaleski, the last three pontiffs, including Pope Francis, have all been supportive of the late Swiss theologian Hans Urs von Balthasar, who taught that Catholics have a duty to hope and pray for an empty hell, for the salvation of all. Even those Protestant traditions that have historically been more attuned to the gulf between the elect and the damned have seen vigorous theological debate about the afterlife, and the defense of ideas that effectively weaken the severity of divine wrath. Conditional immortality, for one, says true eternal life is reserved for the saved. Souls in hell will eventually, and in this context, mercifully, be annihilated.
Most people are no longer afraid of being seized at an unguarded moment, judged wanting and flung into the fiery pit like Edward's congregants were, says Zaleski. We are now more creatures of anxiety than of guilt. The anxiety, as well as the interest, is surely tied to the graying of the Western world too, as our thoughts, conscious or not, increasingly turn to what's next, whether we think that's oblivion or some kind of afterlife. Baby boomers, by sheer force of numbers, have always driven cultural trends, from the lowering of voting and drinking ages in their youth to the politically untouchable status of retirement benefits today. It's hardly surprising to see them favor not just the existence, but the congenial nature of an afterlife.
Okay, good, thanks. This is what everyone else paragraph I'll read here. And that is where the heavenly tourists finally mesh, not just with each other, but with the larger culture. We seem to be moving inexorably from a society where organized religion dominates issues of morality and mortality, but not to the secular promised land of reason. Rather, we are orienting ourselves to a more personal spirituality, at once vague and autonomous. Ordinary sinners increasingly don't believe that they deserve judgment, let alone hell. Theists and atheists alike dispute any earthly authorities' right to judge, and both feel NDEs give them reason to hope for something beyond the grave. And many believers confidently expect that God isn't judgmental either. Okay, so hopefully you found this an interesting article. And I think what I'll do, just to get everybody sort of in on this, is we'll start all over and go all the way around the room, just like we had when we started out people reading. So if you can maybe just say something, was there something in the article that really kind of stuck out to you? Okay, or any other comment that you feel that you want to make. So Amber, we'll start with you. Do you have anything that kind of impressed you about or any?
And then, where is it? That even Alexander, I don't know, I love that story about where he was riding a girl on a butterfly, and later on down his life, he found that he saw a picture of his deceased natural sister, and that was a girl on a butterfly. And I don't know, you don't really hear stories like that, so I love that story.
Okay, yeah, and actually those kind of, it's interesting how sometimes, people see and meet, whatever spirits whom, they didn't know in physical life, right? So, for example, because they passed away before they knew or whatever, so, yeah, so that is, I think that's an interesting feature. Okay, so next, Rhonda. There's one going, Rhonda, you want to comment next?
Okay, I like how they, because I'm kind of skeptical too, and I like how they have both points of the, like they try and have a scientific answer for like all the experiences, like anoxia, they see a light at the end of the tunnel, but like they're saying that it's a dying brain and too much carbon monoxide, that's why they see the light, and I like that part.
Okay, yeah, that's certainly a valid point. I think in any of this, it's always necessary to be skeptical, to kind of weigh whatever evidence is being given one way or the other, right? So that's certainly, I think, a valid thing. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the class, for example, we looked at Randy Musqua's statements, and he seems to say very clearly that the spirit is real. So that's kind of how we're picking up on that theme. Okay, so just so you should take a look at his the statements that I handed out, and you should read them. You'll probably find them interesting. Okay, next. Who's next?
Oh, hi, it's Ruby. I just find it kind of weird that we're discussing this topic because my aunt is in the hospital in ICU right now, and she doesn't want to live anymore. I just find it makes me think more about our topic, like deeply. And she grew up Catholic, and I grew up Catholic because of her. But not coming to school, it's helping me learn about my beliefs and everything. But I'm kind of leaning towards the traditional, and I believe in that everything does have a spirit. There's so much things to say about it. I just wanted to say that there are spirits I believe in. I think because they want to study it so much is because that's how the Western worldview works. Like, it's so hard to believe in studied facts. No, it's more easier for them to believe stuff that they could pinpoint and take apart than to actually just believe it fully. I don't know where I'm going with this, but does it make sense in a way?
Oh yeah, no, definitely, I think it makes sense, yeah. And I think,
Okay.
Personal experience is often something that makes you think, right? When you encounter like the death of someone you know, or if you think about the question of if there's a baby born, right, where does that baby come from, or is it just simply like a bunch of atoms and molecules, right? So that those make you think about those things, and I think one of the issues in the kind of society we live, like the Western, the Euro-American, whatever you want to call it, culture, is that it's very secular, and a lot of people comment on the secularism of the loss of connection or belief in anything that has to do with spirit. So it's a fundamental. I think it's a fundamental issue, when we're dealing with this kind of material. So, you were making sense of, for sure. Anything else? Judy?
I don't know, I just find it really interesting, especially with the ones that talk about Jesus. Like, do you think that they had a prior idea of the names of those people, like Jesus and, I don't know, I just find it all so interesting now. Like the 4-year-old? Remember the 4-year-old? Was seen in Jesus as well? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
My beliefs are all over the place.
Yeah.
But
Well, in response to that, I'd probably say that something that one of the elders say, which is that in heaven everybody has a place, just like on earth everybody has a place. And that it's kind of a place where you belong, I guess, or a place where that's kind of described it. Just a thought, anyway. Just a thought, because like they say, the children were going anything about the Virgin Mary, wouldn't see the Virgin Mary, so they would see something that is meaningful to them, right? So it's an interesting question, of course, to ask what goes on in that kind of situation. I think as we go through the class, we'll probably have a chance to take a look at some of these questions. There's a lot of interesting concepts we can look at. Okay, let's move on. Okay, next.
The only thing that popped into my head when we were reading is that wise. It sounded more like that movie Constantine. What happened to him, like with the hell and all that. That sounded more like the Constantine, that movie.
I haven't seen that one, but sounds like a horror movie, right? Yeah, but again, I think it's interesting to say that this one person knew about near-death experiences, rejected his claim that was a near-death experience. Right? So
Yeah.
And one of the things that we will look at when we look at the near-death research is there are certain criteria. And I have a feeling that his didn't really fit. It could have been like a nightmare of some sort, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll look at that. So what's Constantine about?
Somebody that committed suicide and now he was sent back to Earth, but he could see what hell was, where hell was, and he sees those things come to Earth and all that. Keanu Reeves is in it.
Recent movie? Is it recent?
What?
Recent? Is it
Yeah.
recent movie?
Recent? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it recent?
Like 2000. It just came out in 2000.
About 10 years ago.
Okay,
Keanu
Mark.
Reeves was-
Sounds like a movie that's being recommended here, so. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's next.
Interesting.
Who's next?
Okay. I guess just like with even the title, why are so many people suddenly believing in afterlife? I think it's because of the media in the 21st century scaring everyone, and with even just the almanac and everything in 2012, and everyone has a reason to be scared according to the media and what everything, and it maybe makes them feel safe to believe in something, where before they didn't feel like they needed to necessarily believe in something. And so I think where that maybe comes into play with everyone wanting to believe in, it makes them feel safe, even if they aren't necessarily Christian or wherever heaven plays in. And I found it really interesting with the lady that was in the hospital and where she had an out-of-body experience and found the tennis shoe. And I guess I'm kind of skeptical of that also, but it would be one of those things that I guess you just have to believe, and it's sometimes hard.
I guess the interesting thing is that nobody knows absolutely when the person's dead. It's interesting, you often sometimes see accounts of people going through trances. And while when it comes to person accounts to say that the physical body is somewhat in the death state, it's not dead, so it raises interesting questions.
Sorry, this is a side note. It says that you have to start calling for us to listen. Like, it's not that.
Okay, so I need to start calling?
Yeah, it just says no juice is supposed to be. Sorry.
So you can't post?
I can email it to you.
Okay. Is there like a, okay, so the form for this has to be accurate. Okay, I'll see if I can get the, okay. All right, Veronica, any comments?
Like when you took part of the training, my aunt passed away 2 weeks ago, and when she was releasing, she was talking about my grandparents that were in the room, and all of the people that passed on. I found it really interesting because I didn't really believe in spirit. I didn't understand what she was talking about, because she kept saying they're right there, they're right beside you. I don't know, I found it really interesting. Keep reading them.
Yeah.
Because I never really,
Yeah.
I didn't believe what she was saying.
Yeah.
And then she was taking me home for all that morning, listening to everything she was saying. It was very peaceful.
Yeah, that's actually a common problem here. People who are dying and seeing people, during the person or some people were have mentioned also using very lucid and okay. Christine?
Well, like I believe in like near-death experiences and stuff, but like just in this article, like how they talked about like one of these guys said that like Jesus rescued him. I'm kind of skeptical towards that. Like I read this book and like and like it never said anything about like culturally specific things like that. Like it said like people saw like a bright light that told them something, or like kind of like figures, but like never was there any like culturally specific like Jesus. Like, and it doesn't really state in this article whether like what Reese actually saw. Did he see Jesus, or did he see a white light that spoke to him and like took him or whatever, that like, but then he like kind of put his ultra beliefs on that and said that was Jesus. Because yeah, like when I read the book, there never was anything really specific to like, Jesus or Allah or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just kind of skeptical towards that. Yeah.
But that's one of the things, is like a methodology for determining whether this is, this is a genuine thing or not, is a checklist, right? And so, I mean, if a case does not meet enough of these criteria, we simply say we don't know whether this is considered. So, I mean, kind of with the article is not an expert, right? It's just saying that people have different experiences. Talk about the different way, unfortunately, that's really. So it was interesting to see that the person was familiar with near-death experiences and
I just find it interesting that it says that 81% believe in the power to measure life. And, it comes to what my friend was suggesting, Constantine above the whole media kind of like making us believe in people about the end of the world and stuff. So that's what I basically thought about right away, was like the idea of the time coming to an end. People basically jump to the conclusion, should we believe in heaven or hell?
think one of the main points being made by people who study this stuff is there's a distinction between things which come spontaneously to people, right? And it comes in such a way that, I mean, it's not that people have the time to, create these things unless it's being done unconsciously. But I think, in some of these cases, especially the ones with children who haven't been exposed necessarily to these type of influences. So, so that kind of, raises that question about, if it doesn't happen to my children, I can find influence by that. Well, then, maybe it is genuine. But that's what the skeptics, of course, always say. They'll say, well, there's this Hollywood movie, whatever, so they must have seen that, and it's probably wrong, whatever. So, but I think the premise is that these things are coming from a place which is not being influenced by your normal everyday experiences.
Okay, well, first off, these kind of experiences or books are not new. I've read books about people that had near-death experiences like 10, 15 years ago. I was reading these kind of books already. There was one called Into the Light. I think that one had a heart attack. There was another really good one I read. One of the very first ones, I think the guy was back in the 70s, and he was talking on the phone during a lightning storm, and he got zapped in the ear through, that, and he had a near-death experience. So, and what I noticed is the same thing that the researchers are now noticing is that there's commonality that these people are having in these experiences, and like they're seeing the light, they're getting special knowledge, everything related in the book. So, I don't think it's anything new. Yeah, I think there's culturally specific things, like some people are going to walk through the room, and some people are going to see Jesus, and some people are going to see their grandmother, and some people, because that's just how it's going to be seen for them. But that doesn't mean that it's true or it's not true. I think that reality is subjective, right? And when you're seeing the world from like an indigenous perspective, then that is supposed to be subjective. So why wouldn't it be subjective in the afterlife also? There's only one, after we die, okay, there's only a Jesus or there isn't? No, I mean, there's going to be Jesus for some and not Jesus for some. So for me, it matches just fine. The article is kind of focused on, it seemed always related back to books. I think it was trying to hint that people were trying to make money off of this. And I do kind of wonder about that wife. That's the one where the guy went to hell for 23 minutes. Because that's not a near-death experience. It's a nightmare. He wasn't in the hospital, he didn't die, he didn't have any, And, yeah. But really interesting that more of it is coming out now. It's really good to see. I don't think it's because people are scared. I think it's because people are just awakening. Our level of consciousness is higher overall. So there's more people interested, not just weird people like me reading stuff 15 years ago. But it's sort of coming more mainstream. And one thing that I recommend y'all check out is a film on Netflix called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. It's on Netflix, and it's about DMT, dimethyl triple, whatever. It's like one of the common molecules that we are made from, and it's all throughout nature. But they've discovered it comes from the pineal gland. It secretes it, and it gives you these experiences, these dreams. They think that maybe when you're dying, your brain releases an extra poof of it. But you can also get it through certain hallucinogenics like mushrooms, magic mushrooms, stuff like that. But it's awesome. It's an awesome video to check out on Netflix. So, and it's related to the spores and everything.
So DMT and what?
DMT, yeah, domino mushrooms. Yeah. Thank you. The Spirit Molecule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, check out Two Fools.
Okay, very good. So anyway, I think Natasha raises this interesting question about what is reality, right? And people think, well, people look around and they think everything is real, right? But scientists would probably use some theories who differ with that, right? It's shown scientifically that what we appear to see is not really like even things like this, like the molecules and stuff. They say if you compare them to just as far apart as planets are in the solar system. Why do we see them as solid? Well, it seems to be it's a function of our eyes, because our eyes are made to see them as solid, but they're not really. So that's an interesting question about reality. And then there's a whole bunch of things that we assume as being real, and we don't really know why they're real. We know we're here, maybe this is an imagination, right? So there are a whole bunch of questions being raised about what is reality. And I think the thing is that I think what is real is probably far broader than people generally assume. Anyway. Okay, one down.
Well, this article is the Near-Death Experiences. I don't know if they're taken from the same places where Long got this from, but like reading Long, I recognize some of the stories they shared in this article and in this book. But also it made me think of a YouTube video that I watched a few years back. I don't know, I can't remember what it was called, but I think the girl in it was Christina. She was a girl living on the streets, and she was pronounced dead for I don't know how many, like for a while. Like I don't know if it was hours or days. And she shares her experience about visiting both hell and heaven. And she shares about like all in all, at the end of it is like making changes in your life. If you want to get to where your loved ones are, then you need to make changes in your life. Like she spoke on how her grandmother, who was a strong Christian and strong Catholic, like followed her religious ways. They were Spanish people, Spanish background, and she was very, very like always in the church and praying and stuff. But yet she still was in hell. And she asked her grandmother, "Why are you here? Like you should be up there." And she's like, "Because I didn't love myself. I didn't love myself, and I couldn't forgive myself." So in a way, it made me think, and like I showed this video to kids that I work with, because I've worked with high-risk kids for 10 years. Like some of them were prostitutes, some of them were gang members, and trying to teach them change, like to change their life and start making changes and thinking about choices and the choices we make in life. And like for me, this whole kick of whatever religion, spirituality, or believing in hell or heaven is all our own fear of wanting to change our lives. When we have that awakening in our life as an individual, then we'll decide which way we want to go or which way we want to live our life. And it's like we need to have that fear embedded in us, and that's what it seems like the guy who supposedly visited hell had his awakening. And we all have our reasons why we want to change our lives. And I guess it's just our own fear and needing to change that.
Right, and I think that's one reason why the elders and the people in college are interested in doing research on spirituality, because there is a role that can play in counseling. And so whatever it is, whether it's discovering aspects of yourself that you don't really appreciate or whatever, or understand or whatever, that's what it is.
And like media is in a way, with people wanting to change now, like I noticed in our generation, and like the teens or the youth that I work with in that generation, they're struggling to find their way of life. They're struggling to find an identity. And fear is what's putting a lot of us in check. trying to find that way in life. And media is just adding like gasoline to the fire to try and, okay, well, you need to start fighting, you gotta go this way, you know, and then it opens doors for other people to start wanting to believe in church or things like that, or Muslim, or, you know, like wanting to follow a certain way of life. But, you know, like I strongly believe that we'll find our way when we want to. Like there's a lot of atheists nowadays, like I have a lot of atheists in my family, you know, and I don't pressure onto them the way I live my life. I just listen to them and say, well, how do you feel about making decisions like that in your life? You know, like if you don't have a way to follow, then how does it make you feel when you make poor choices?
Well, it's interesting, the elders say everybody is born with a purpose, right? And often when you're young, you have a sense of what the purpose is, but you often lose it. And maybe need to rediscover it. But, you know, it's interesting because, you know, when someone is lost like that, what do? Do you say smart and give a job? You know, there's more from that. So, yeah, it's an interesting, certainly is an interesting question, and I think, well, I guess different cultures deal with it in different ways, but I think certainly the elders say, you have to have connection to spirituality always.
And I'm just thankful that nobody in my family, like the ones that kept supporting me, didn't give up on me. You know, like they kept praying. Like my grandmother was very religious and very spiritual. Like she was very, very strong into her church ways, but yet at the same point, for her latter years of life, she went back to the traditional way of life. But she always believed in prayer, no matter what. And without her praying for me, who knows, you know, like where I could have ended up in life, that she wouldn't give up on me. All, like my own mother had given up on me, the way I was living my life. It was my grandmother who kept on. So in a way, having a little bit of that connection with somebody to believe in you and pray for you.
It's making me think about when my grandmother, she used to play cards and swear she called it Diablo, you know, and stuff like that. And she'd after that she'd say her rosary.
I just thought that this article was more about maybe comparing and contrast like the validity behind the stories or like the financial gains attributed to coming up with some of these situations. So I just thought that's kind of this article was exploring more than Long's book, where Long's actually trying to like mathematically prove that the afterlife exists. So I thought that was just a big contrast between this and what we've been reading with Long books, despite, you know, obviously the same stories and similar contrasts. But I just felt like, you know, Long's obviously trying to prove that there is life after death by, you know, exploring all the options he has. And this is just like, are people trying to make money off it, or is it actually a valid, you know, spiritual experience? That's
well, the interesting thing is I know having at the University of Virginia where they're, you know, they're doing research on things like reincarnation and near-death experiences. One of the most difficult things they have is finding research money because, you know, because a lot of research funding agencies just don't do that kind of thing. And even if they believe it, they say, well, you know, we're not producing any guns or any airplanes or whatever, right? You know, so it's private apartment.
exactly.
So, yeah, so
I think that it goes back to like on a like Western way of knowing where science is the absolute truth, right? And that fact of, you know, has kind of controlled how I guess mainstream society views these situations because it breaks that contrast. So I think that plays a large role in society's view of these near-death experiences for sure.
It's this thing about rationality, right? If it's not scientifically rational, then it's not real, right? That's not really thinking about it.
But now that we're getting more technologically advanced, we're starting to be able to like prove these kind of, you know, experiences through the advance in medicine and other experiences like that. So I think that the more we learn scientifically, we'll learn that we knew less before. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, even concepts of science themselves are changing.
yeah,
So much.
it's evolving. So
Yeah.
it's not an absolute by any means.
Yeah. Okay, Marcel, or whoever you're channeling there,
I'd like to add to Natasha's comment or critique of this article that it kind of puts into context the author with words like mega selling experiences and survivor come author. You know, it's like they try and talk about how much money they can make off of this kind of industry. And you know, they had some people that had died and they had seen figures from the Bible, and maybe that's could be subjective to something that they had believed their whole life. So I read some books about critical thinking and the logic of belief, how people get that into their brain, and some other stuff I had read about brain science, like how top of the brain, there's like blood from monks had been they've been measuring blood in the brain, and that when there's lack of blood in the top area of the brain, they fail to distinguish themselves between them and their own reality. So that was kind of saying that they identified with the universe when they could stop the blood from pooling in the top of the brain. So I thought that was pretty interesting, especially when they're talking about levitating monks, and when that happens to them, they don't really know what's happening, but they're controlling the part of the brain that cannot have as much blood. But back to this article, yeah, I think that kind of thing could be subjective. Well, when they were talking about some overlapping interviews, like they're saying God isn't as judgmental as they make it out to be in the Bible, how it's very harsh and you get the wrath of God when you don't do all these things, or when you're a sinner, when you're sinning against other people. And you know, they're saying that you just feel pure love at that point when you're dead. I thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe that's another plane of existence that most people want to get to.
Yeah, so there's so much literature out in this area. You know, I agree in some places like the States you can make a lot of money, and certain people do, right? I think some of these people are not really, people can tell other people what they want to hear, right? People want something to do with them, right? Government substance. And there was this example of a psychic who told me that the woman that was free and that was held in hell.
Sylvia Brown?
The psychic said she was dead, right? Basically, that's an example of something that's being done there that's not genuine, right?
And she's a really, who's that, Brown?
Sylvia Brown, yeah, she makes loads of money because she pumps out hundreds of books that people buy, cupcakes, and I think they got print, you know? That's not just marketing, but I think, you know, you do need to be discriminating when you're looking at these books, right? And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to find stuff where people are trying to find ways to say this has to be more than just made up, right? That is to judge whether or not the stuff is just people's imagination or whether there's something to it. So that's what we'll be able to do.
I think there's something else that connects to it as well, like you're saying about the addiction of using whatever substance it might be. Like, it doesn't matter what perspective you look at it, even if you consider like the Western worldview perspective of like AA, they reconnect you with like a Christian spirit, right? And all of these different aspects have some underlying spirit attachment, and that's how people are just out.
Yeah, so, you know, like, somehow people need preaching, somehow people usually don't take care of it, so whatever. There's inspiration, there's things that would possibly do that, whether people simply practice or just, yeah, and I think, you know, like substance abuse, also, I think, to look at things like, a lot of it's kind of like what the elders say, for example, take it to the Holy Scans and stuff like that, the reason because it's spirituality. So I mean, that's, you look at practical aspects of why should we talk about it, research spirituality, right? So it's, so, if you're, let's say if you're in a house, because I know the elders say, as soon as your child able to talk, we're talking to you about spirit. It's more than just physical and so on and so forth. Not only that, but you get ceremonies where you get kind of a tangible feeling for what it's about. Ceremonies, pursue the vision or whatever, those type of things. So you get the sense, right, that there's a world there, right, that's larger. Okay, good comments. Thanks, everybody. Anybody else have any other comments or questions?
Some people do have negative near-death experiences. Because I did look at all this data before. And I think it's more like 75% or 80% are these sort of heavenly experiences. But some people do have negative near-death experiences. But they come back with the same, I gotta make something, I gotta be a good person. Usually where they have the negative or the positive, they come back with that. Because I know someone that had one of those, he wasn't clinically dead, but he was passed out from solvent abuse. And he had it, I don't know if it was a near-death experience or a bad dream, but the Grim Reaper came to him and took him down a long thing, tunnel or something, and then at the end there was a grave, and he just pointed, and then he looked and he seen his own name on the grave, and then I guess he, oh my God, and he just woke up and stood up, like he was laying on a bed, and he just woke up like so fast, and then after that changed his life around. So I don't know if that maybe was a near-death experience or a bad dream, but it's similar to the ones that I read about. And how she was kind of elaborate on what she was sharing about how, people that go to AA and they need that religious aspect. That's where, from my understanding of comprehending all of this, is where as a First Nations person or somebody who follows my way of life, having that balance for the 4 aspects in life, like emotional, spiritual, mental, physical. Once we have those all in balance and working in balance, and if we're lacking that spirituality, or religious as some people may see it, then we're not going to be in balance as a whole person.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, good comments. Next week I'm going to be talking about some of the. I went down to Virginia to see what some of the work they're doing and that type of thing. So I'll be talking a bit about some of that stuff. Okay, good. Thank you, everyone.
Blair?
Yeah?
Did anybody ever tell you you look like Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, the actor.
T-Pex.
They don't pay me enough.
Thought I'd put that out there.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Are you going to try to reschedule the guest speaker's position?
Yeah.
What do you think of today's class?
Hey!
Putting this on your Facebook. What's up, Facebookers? Let's,
Why did you message me
create a
during
video.
class?
What's that?
Why did you message me during class?
Oh, because you're online.
I'm not. My phone is.
So we're saying this is our class that we're taking.
This is our class that we're taking?
For 496.
Fellow students?
Yeah. See, Paul? Yeah.
This is my lunch pack.
Yeah, this is her lunch. She's not sharing though.
No,
Check it out.
absolutely not.
Salad.
This is my salad. This
Got
is
a
my
peach.
peach.
Oh yeah.
My V8.
Some V8.
My weight loss drink.
Oh, and the protein shake. You got protein in there? Did you put protein in there?
No.
Why not? Protein helps you lose weight. Oh yeah, yeah. It takes calories to burn the protein. So that's why. I'm putting on YouTube first. And then Facebook. So you could be famous. You could blow up like Justin Bieber. I'll put you on Dancing with the Stars.
You'll be like, hey, I used to go to the school that girl.
Yeah. I'll be like, that was her. Yeah. Well, yeah. See you later. Thursday. Natasha, do you practice those?
What?
Those long soliloquies that you do for the class?
Do I talk long? I didn't know I talked long.
No, you don't. Just longer than average.
Depends. Some days I don't say anything at all, you know.
You don't say anything at all.
Don't you remember last semester there were some days where I just said,
Yeah. You're like, meh.
Just like that. Nothing to say. Just
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, today she was extra chatty. Jesus. Don't forget Jesus.
You're funny. It's just easy. You're like,
Yeah, it's like we're going to come here and read paragraphs out of an article today.
who? What?
Wasn't that fun?
Oh, I know, eh? Like, oh, what do you think about that? Oh,
It's all about the pressures. You just gotta keep up with your reading.
Yeah, that's the thing with him. Just read and read. Because, yeah, as long as you have something to say.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I'm
How's
sure.
your day, Marcel?
Well, yeah, I will. You too. See you on Thursday. Yeah. So that was 496. Cool.